I'm Sarah Anderson, a typical housewife who just turned 35. This spring, my life was about to change dramatically. The morning sun gently wakes me as it streams through the window. Suddenly, I feel a strange sensation in my belly. I've just entered the 36th week of pregnancy, but something feels different. As I lie there, I place my hand on my stomach and feel a sharp pain I've never experienced before. "Michael, wake up," I shake my husband sleeping next to me. "My stomach, it hurts." Michael slowly sits up, rubbing his eyes. "Are you okay? We still have time before the due date, don't we?" His words reassure me a little, but the pain doesn't subside. But something's different. Maybe we should go to the hospital. Michael looks at the clock with a slightly troubled expression. "I have an important meeting today. Can we wait a bit longer and see how it goes?" I hesitate but decide to follow his suggestion. "All right. But I'll call you if the pain gets worse." Michael hurriedly gets ready and leaves with a kiss on my cheek. Left alone at home, I spend time battling pain and anxiety. Past noon, the pain becomes unbearable. I try calling Michael, but he doesn't answer as he's in a meeting. With no other choice, I call a taxi and head to the nearest hospital alone. At the hospital, I'm immediately guided to the obstetrics examination room. Dr. Brown examines me and looks surprised. "Mrs. Anderson, the baby is about to be born. Let's move you to the delivery room right away." I tremble with shock and fear. But it's too early. And my husband isn't here. Dr. Brown gently takes my hand. "It's going to be all right. We'll support you fully. We'll contact your husband too." As I'm moved to the delivery room, nurses busily start preparations. Amidst the pain and anxiety clouding my mind, I desperately try to remember the breathing techniques. "That's it, deep breaths. You're doing great," a nurse's voice brings me back to reality. Fighting through contractions, I desperately try to push the baby out. Sweat blurs my vision. I lose all sense of time, with only pain dominating my world. Then suddenly, a baby's cry fills the room. "Congratulations, it's a girl." I hear Dr. Brown's voice. Tears of relief and joy overflow. A nurse wipes the baby clean and places her on my chest. As I hold this small, warm life, all the pain seems to vanish like a lie. "Hello, my angel," I whisper to the baby. The nurse lifts the baby to weigh her. 2,800 grams. That's a good weight for a premature baby. I smile and hold the baby's tiny hand. That's when I notice a small birthmark on the sole of her right foot. "Oh, this birthmark." The nurse takes a look. "Ah, that birthmark. Don't worry. It's likely congenital. It'll be a unique feature of your child." I nod, relieved. Then I notice another small mole on her right shoulder. There's a mole on her right shoulder too. Yes, I see. But this is also nothing to worry about. It's rather cute, actually, the nurse smiles kindly. Exhausted and overwhelmed with happiness, my consciousness starts to fade. Before closing my eyes, I search for Michael, but he's nowhere to be seen. Ma'am, please rest now. We'll take good care of the baby. With the nurse's words, I drift into a deep sleep. When I wake up, I find myself in a hospital bed. It's dusk outside, and I'm not sure how long I've been asleep. Sarah, you're awake. I turn towards Michael's voice and see him sitting in a chair, watching me. However, his expression isn't one of joy. Michael, the baby? I ask weakly. Michael takes a deep breath and holds my hand. Sarah, please stay calm and listen. My heart starts racing. What happened? Is the baby all right? Michael lowers his eyes and begins speaking in a heavy tone. The baby died shortly after birth. With those words, my world crumbles. No, that can't be true. I heard the baby cry. I even held her. Sarah, you were in shock right after the delivery. The doctor told me. The baby's lungs were underdeveloped. I shake my head vigorously. No. My baby was healthy. She had a birthmark on her foot and a mole on her shoulder. The nurse saw them too. Michael looks at me with sad eyes. Sarah, that was a dream. The baby is gone. I break down in tears. Michael embraces me, but in his arms, all I can do is call out my child's name over and over. My mind is in chaos, my heart feels torn apart. I can no longer distinguish between reality and nightmare. Only the absence of the small life that should be in my arms feels cruelly real. 3 days have passed since we lost the baby. My heart is sunk in deep sorrow. The baby items we had prepared silently tell the story of our loss. Michael is hardly home, immersing himself in work. Perhaps it's his way of expressing grief. This morning too, I wake up with a heavy heart. The morning sun streaming through the window, which once heralded the hopeful start of a new day, now holds no meaning. I drag myself out of bed and head to the kitchen. While brewing coffee, my eyes fall on the baby's bottle, and I feel my chest tighten again. Why? I whisper softly. Suddenly, the phone rings. It's an unknown number, but thinking it might be the hospital, I hurriedly answer. Hello, this is Sarah Anderson. Mrs. Anderson, this is Nurse Linda from St. Mary's Hospital. Don't leave the baby behind. For a moment, I'm at a loss for words. What do you mean? Today's your discharge day, right? Don't leave the baby behind. I'll report to the police if you do. Confused, I managed to squeeze out some words. But, my baby died 3 days ago. What are you talking about? The baby is fine. I just fed her this morning. My mind goes blank. Is this some kind of mistake, or? I'm sorry, let me confirm again. My name is Sarah Anderson, and I gave birth at St. Mary's Hospital 3 days ago. And the baby? Linda interrupts me. Yes, that's right. Mrs. Anderson's baby, a girl, right? She's sleeping soundly in the nursery right now. My hand starts to shake. But my husband said the baby had died. Mrs. Anderson, are you all right? Linda's voice is filled with concern. The baby is really fine. Can you come here right away? Yes, I'm coming right now. After hanging up, I quickly change clothes and grab my bag. My mind is in turmoil, but one thing is certain, I need to know the truth. As I take a taxi to the hospital, my heart keeps pounding. If the baby is really alive, but why did Michael lie? Arriving at the hospital, I bypass the reception and jump into the elevator. When I reach the floor with the nursery, I rush down the hallway. As I stop in front of the nursery, a nurse who looks like Linda notices me and approaches with a smile. Mrs. Anderson, we've been waiting for you. This way. Linda leads me to the back of the room. There are small beds lined up. She stops in front of one of them and says gently, "Here she is. Your baby." With trembling hands, I gently pull back the blanket. There lies a small baby girl sleeping. At that moment, tears flood my eyes. She's really alive. I look at the baby's right foot and see that distinctive birthmark. And on her right shoulder, there's the mole just as I remembered. This is my baby, without a doubt. Linda looks at me with a puzzled expression. Mrs. Anderson, what on earth happened? Wiping my tears, I explain the situation to Linda. About how Michael said the baby had died, about the events of the past 3 days. Linda listened with a serious expression. This sounds very serious. We might need to report this to the police. I pick up the baby and feel her warmth. No, not yet. First, I need to know the truth. Linda hesitates a bit but nods. I understand. But if you need any help, please let me know immediately. As I gaze at the baby, I steel my resolve. Thank you. I will definitely uncover the truth. However, at that moment, a new worry crosses my mind. Should I take the baby home right now, or? Linda, I carefully choose my words. Could you keep the baby here a little longer? I want to keep her in a safe place until I get to the bottom of this. Linda shows understanding. Of course. The baby's safety comes first. But we can't keep her here for too long. I let out a deep breath. I understand. I'll resolve everything as quickly as possible. As I leave the hospital, anger and determination swirl in my heart. I will demand explanations from Michael and anyone else involved. And I will protect my baby at all costs. As I get into a taxi, I take a deep breath. I can't even imagine how difficult the journey to uncover the truth will be. But for this small life, I'm prepared to fight to the end. Upon returning home from the hospital, Michael rushed into the living room looking flustered. Sarah, where have you been? I was worried. I answered, trying to appear calm. Just went out for a bit. A momentary confusion crossed Michael's face. I see, where to? To the hospital, I said, watching his reaction closely. Michael's face turned pale. Why? Are you feeling unwell? Yes, a little, I answered vaguely. But I'm fine. From that night on, I began to carefully observe Michael's behavior. He had clearly changed. He was restless and constantly checking his mobile phone. Late at night, I overheard Michael's hushed conversation. I know. But it's impossible now. Sarah might be suspicious. Anger welled up in my chest. Who is he talking to? What is he hiding? The next day, I called Emily, my colleague and close friend. Emily, I need to talk. Can we meet? We met at a cafe and sat at a quiet corner table. I confided everything to her. About the baby, Michael's lies, and his suspicious behavior. Emily listened with a serious expression. Sarah, this is serious. Is there anything I can do? Yes, I hesitated a bit but continued. Could you investigate Michael's actions? There's only so much I can do. Emily nodded without hesitation. Leave it to me. I'll do everything I can. From that day on, Emily began to secretly investigate Michael's actions. I decided to maintain a calm facade until I uncovered the truth. A week after Emily's investigation began, I received an urgent call from her. Sarah, I have important information. Can we meet right away? We met at the same cafe as before. Emily's expression was dark, suggesting something serious. Sarah, brace yourself, Emily took a deep breath before continuing. Michael, he's having an affair. My heart nearly stopped. What? With a woman named Jessica. She seems to be Michael's colleague. But that's not all. Emily took out her phone and showed me a photo. It showed Michael talking intimately with a woman. Is this Jessica? I asked with a trembling voice. Emily nodded. Yes. But there's something even more shocking. She showed me another photo. There was a familiar figure in it. Is that Michael's mother? Yes. It seems Michael's mother is involved in this too. My mind started to spin. Michael, Jessica, and my mother-in-law, what on earth is going on? That night, on my way home, I accidentally overheard Michael's phone conversation. Mom, I know. But it's not good right now. Sarah might have noticed something. Jessica is getting impatient too. But I need a little more time. All the pieces started to fall into place in my mind. Michael, Jessica, and my mother-in-law, they're conspiring together. And at the center of it all is my baby. The next day, I met with Emily again and shared the new information. Combining her investigation with the conversation I overheard, a terrifying truth emerged. Michael and Jessica were having an affair, and Jessica wanted a child. However, for some reason, she couldn't have one herself. So they planned to take my baby and raise it as Jessica's child. My mother-in-law knew about the plan and was cooperating. She had never liked me much. She probably wanted a more suitable woman for her son, namely, Jessica. But why did they return the baby to the hospital? I asked, confused. Emily said thoughtfully, perhaps out of guilt or fear of being discovered. But it seems they haven't given up yet. I sighed deeply. I can't believe it, my family was trying to steal my baby. Emily squeezed my hand. Sarah, what are you going to do now? I answered with determination, I'm going to expose the truth. And get my baby back. At this moment, I realized I was about to face the most difficult battle of my life. But to protect my child, I was ready to overcome any obstacle. Now that we knew the truth, Emily and I began to collect evidence in earnest. We started investigating Michael's computer and smartphone during his absence. Sarah, look at this, Emily pointed to Michael's email. There were arrangements for secret meetings with Jessica. With a heavy heart but trying to stay calm, I asked, anything else? Emily checked the call records and discovered frequent communications between Jessica and my mother-in-law. This is clearly suspicious. Next, we started investigating Jessica's background. We found her social media accounts and, scrolling through her past posts, uncovered a shocking fact. Sarah, look at this, Emily pointed at the screen. There was a post indicating that Jessica had been undergoing fertility treatment. So that's why she wanted my baby. I choked on my words, and Emily gently placed her hand on mine. We also investigated my mother-in-law's past. We were able to get testimonies from neighbors and family acquaintances that she had tried to drive away her son's girlfriends in the past. She's really a scary person, I said with a trembling voice. Finally, we prepared the decisive evidence, photos of the baby's distinctive birthmarks taken at the hospital. With this, I can prove without a doubt that this child is my baby. Emily hugged my shoulders. Sarah, we've gathered enough evidence. Now it's time to confront them. I took a deep breath and steeled my resolve. Yes, it's time to reveal the truth. The day after gathering the evidence, I made a decision. I decided to summon Michael, Jessica, and my mother-in-law to our home. Did something happen? Michael asked anxiously. Yes, I have something important to discuss, I answered, trying to appear calm. Soon after, Jessica and my mother-in-law arrived. The three of them gathered in the living room, their expressions clearly showing agitation. I have something I want to ask all of you, I began quietly but firmly. Sarah, what's this about? Michael asked nervously. It's about my baby. At these words, the faces of all three turned pale. What do you mean? My mother-in-law asked in a cold voice. The baby is alive. I confirmed it at the hospital. Jessica suddenly stood up. That's a lie. That child is. My child, I interrupted her. The baby you all tried to steal from me. A heavy silence fell over the room. Sarah, calm down, Michael tried to placate me. You're confused. The ones who are confused are you, I replied calmly. I know everything. Your plan. My mother-in-law opened her mouth. What are you talking about? We didn't. That's enough, I cut her off and took out the evidence I had prepared. Look at this. The email exchanges between Michael and Jessica, the call records, Jessica's fertility treatment records, and the photos of the baby's birthmarks. As I presented the evidence one after another, the three of them were at a loss for words. Why? I asked, holding back tears. Why did you do this? Michael collapsed into a chair. Sarah, Shut up. Jessica shouted. You promised, didn't you? That you'd give me a child. Son, explain yourself, my mother-in-law said in a stern voice. Michael covered his face with his hands. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm truly sorry. Jessica wanted a child. I love her, but at the very end, my conscience hurt. So that's why you returned the baby to the hospital? I asked coldly. Michael nodded slightly. Jessica was trembling with anger. What about our promise? What about my life? My mother-in-law was trying to regain her composure. Sarah, this is all a misunderstanding. That's enough, I interrupted her. No more lies. A heavy silence fell over the room. Michael was crying. Jessica was shaking with anger, and my mother-in-law was staring at me with cold eyes. What are you going to do now? Michael asked in a small voice. I took a deep breath and answered, I'm filing for divorce. And I will have full custody of the baby. Don't come near me or my child ever again. But, Sarah. Michael started to say, but I raised my hand to stop him. It's over. Get out. The three of them left the house one by one without a word. With the sound of the door closing, I felt something break inside me, and at the same time, I felt something new beginning to grow. This is not the end. Rather, it's the beginning of a new life. A new life for me and my baby. The day after the final confrontation, I reported to the police. While the investigation was ongoing, the baby was safely staying in the hospital's NICU neonatal intensive care unit. I visited the hospital almost every day, cherishing the time I spent with my baby. When the police arrived, things started moving quickly. Michael, Jessica, and my mother-in-law were called to the police station for questioning. I was also asked to give a detailed testimony and submitted all the evidence I had gathered. Mrs. Anderson, we respect your courage, the detective in charge told me. This evidence is very compelling. The legal process was more complex than I had anticipated. To gain custody of the baby, I worked closely with a lawyer. Fortunately, the hospital staff and local social workers were on my side. Sarah, you're going to be a wonderful mother, Emily encouraged me. Everyone is on your side. The support from the local community was also reassuring. Neighbors brought meals, and church members offered prayers. The pastor stood by me, providing spiritual support. God is watching over you and your baby, the pastor's words gave me courage. I also proceeded with the divorce simultaneously. Michael accepted all demands without resistance. His expression was filled with regret. Sarah, I'm truly sorry, Michael said in a small voice as he signed the divorce papers. "I pray for your and the baby's happiness." A few weeks later, the court granted me full custody of the baby. At the same time, Michael and the others' actions were recognized as serious crimes. "Congratulations, Mrs. Anderson," the judge said with a smile. "Your courage and determination have brought justice." Finally, I was able to bring the baby home. After long days in the NICU, the moment of returning home with my child in my arms was indescribably joyful. "Welcome home, Amy," I whispered to the baby. Amy, a name meaning beloved. A new life began. The path as a single mother is certainly not easy, but I had strong determination. Amy's smile gives me the strength to overcome all difficulties. "Mommy will do her best," I promised, hugging Amy. "Let's build a happy life together." The community support continues. Mom friends give me parenting advice, and the church provides childcare services. "Sarah, you're not alone," Emily's words still resonate in my heart. Indeed, there are many challenges ahead. But when I think about watching Amy grow and walking this path together, my heart fills with hope. Our new life has begun. I gazed at the morning sun spreading outside the window while soothing Amy. The beginning of a new day, and the start of our new life. Through this experience, I have become stronger.